Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the harbour for another bit of something new on another bright sunny day. Hope the weather for you folks is as it is here in the game. Here in the UK, we've had a pretty nice week. Spring is in the air, and yeah, the most of the bitter weather and the rain and snow and whatnot are behind us, so that's nice. Hope everybody's having a good day. One of you already actually has mentioned recently, or at least recently to me recording this, about the Dragonlord and had I tried it and my impressions, that kind of thing. And as it so happened, I have been trying it just recently, this last week or so, on my main character, because my latest plan is to try and do something melee-wise at the cap, which I have never actually done, as I'm sure you're aware if you've followed the channel for a little while. I've done some ranged at the cap and also a significant amount of castery stuff, notably with the druid, the cold druid, which is still remains a favourite of mine. But we've never actually taken a melee to the cap. And I'm sorry to throw a spoiler in, but we're not going to do with this one either. What I'm actually doing now is going through a few. My main character, Fools, here doesn't have that many melee related past lives. So the Dragon Lord, for instance, gives you +1 damage on your attacks for each of those past lives. So I thought we could acquire one or two of those to help him in whatever build he ends up in, or maybe he'll try several of them at the cap. But while doing so, I also want to have a look at some of these classes and see what nice things there might be, what appeals, what doesn't. And I think it's nice to start with this Dragon Lord thing, as it's a relatively new one. And mention to those of you who haven't tried it yet, I'm actually on the third life here, so I have been able to suss out some of the nice things. Just should add, I've only been going from 1 to 20 with it, not into epic, but I have seen some things I do like, and yeah, as far as smooth leveling progress goes, I can definitely recommend it. If um, you enjoy the sort of CC elements that the casters have, if you're not aware, the Dragon Lord comes with arguably the strongest CC um, ability in the game in terms of what it works on, which from my research is pretty much everything. Everything, this Dragon's Roar thing you may have heard people talking about, it works on everything from, all the problem stuff, plants, golems, anything mechanical, even a mage fire cannon in Shan, no problem. So it's got everything covered. And being as it's a fighter archetype, you can use the tactics feats to get your DCs up pretty high in conjunction with the trance ability that is also in the tree. So let's go ahead and have a quick look at how it's going to be sort of cookie cutter stuff. To those of you who know your melees, there'll be pretty much nothing to see here. But I've gone with the half orc. We're going two-handed fighting, just standard stuff. So I've boosted. I went max strength, max con, and a bit in dex. Now the dex I took because I wanted to take some feats that were related to that. I'll mention that in a minute. If that wasn't the case, I could have put a bit more in intelligence for a few more skill points on level ups. So yes, max strength, max con, and the rest, I think there were 4 left, so I got to Dex 12. Now, the reason we've gone the decks at the start, I started off with two-handed fighting, standard stuff for a. I suppose I could have gone power attack, couldn't I? But two-handed fighting, so the first of the two-handed fighting line. So straight away we've got the strike through. We're hitting maybe two targets more or less every time. I think we are hitting 2 a time actually, because I've got some other enhancements in the racial tree helping that strike through too. For those of you a little bit newer to the game, maybe, there are 2 things going to be discussed here. The strike through is your chance to hit a second or even third target, depending on the amount of strike through you have. If you have 100% strike through, you can see there this two-handed fighting is giving us plus 80% strike through chance. I think we can see in the melee combat how much we have there. So we're on 100%. So we are, presuming we've got 2 targets in front of us, we are hitting 2 with every swing of the sword, which is nice. And that also goes for many of our special abilities. For instance, our trip ability that we've got here, that will also target 2 if we have 2 around us. So very nice. And also any special attacks we have in our enhancement trees, same deal. So if we have something, what would be a good example? Let's just show you that. Yeah, this one here is nice. Cruel Cut from the Ravager Dragonlord tree. So that's doing 3d6 extra con damage, which is often enough to make the con 0 and make the thing helpless. And that can work on more than one target with the strike through. So that's nice to have. The other thing is the double strike, and that's just as it says, the chance to do a double shot. So any special effects you've got on your shot, as well as the damage is doubled, and you get a little icon that pops up telling you you've done a double shot when the damage starts scrolling up the bar. The double strike rather in our case, isn't it, is the harder one to bring up to the max. It's capped at 100, unlike the ranged classes, which can go above 100 and have a chance for a third shot. The melee one, as far as I understand it, is capped at 100, so there's no sense building above that. So yes, where was that? Feats. So we've got two-handed fighting, and then I wanted, or I want, because we're not there yet, I want to get whirlwind attack as soon as possible. And whirlwind attack has prerequisites of dodge and mobility. So at level 1 we went with the two-handed fighting. Level 2 was dodge. Level 3 was mobility. We're getting an extra feat at level 2, of course, for being a fighter class. And then level 4 is going to be this whirlwind attack. I had contemplated leaving it till 4 and just going and destroying everything with that. But I think, well, I hope we're going to be destructive enough anyway as is. This will be an example as well, an illustration of how nasty you can be when you have a character that's got a substantial amount of past lives behind it, and some of the tasty things you can do to just really ramp up the carnage, particularly on one of these two-handed builds. If we take a quick look at the epic past lives that are relevant to this build that we're doing. So this one's really tasty. Ancient power, so you would get 2, so that would be +6 attack for the 3 stacks we've got, but because we're in a two-handed style, we're also getting 6 damage, so that's just nasty. Brace +3 on all saves, not terrible, but this one, double strike, +9 double strike, so again, excellent for our build. +3 on the weapon enhancement from the arcane sphere. Very nice. And contrary to some of the builds I've done, this melee one, this seems to be the case actually with the iconic stuff. Particularly for melees, there's some good stuff to be had. Not least this one. That's 6 extra double strike for the iconic Aasimar Scourge lives. So all in all, there just for these past lives, we've got 3 extra enhancement on the weapon, 15 double strike, and 6 extra hit and damage. That's pretty monstrous. That's on the epic and iconic side. And then if we look on the racial side, he's got 18 racial points, which is pretty obscene. And that's good for now then 2 hit and damage when you use each. So yeah, the 2, 4, 6, another +8 to hit and damage with the two-handed melee weapons. 20 extra strike through. That's how we've managed to get from this 80 to 100. Later on, we're going to get enhancements to power attack from that tree as well as from the Ravager Dragonlord tree. We've got more double strike in here. So I think it's safe to say we've hit the ground running. This racial tree for a two-hander, the half-orc one, is difficult to beat. Just some really tasty stuff in there. You've got a nasty critical auto crit attack there on a long cooldown, but still a nasty extra attack. More damage to the helpless, which I haven't picked up yet because we have no way of causing helpless for the moment. That that can change. This cruel cut, as I mentioned, causes a significant amount of helpless, particularly in the heroic levels, I've noticed, where things have relatively lower con. And this thing does scale up. If you see there, plus an extra 1d6 damage for every 2 character levels you have. So it can still cause opponents significant problems in the later levels. So yes, mega strong in the half-orc tree right out of the gate. And in the quests that I've done, one of you was asking about quests. I don't think you can really go wrong with the expansions. If you've got the expansions, I would say do all of them, with the possible exception of Vecna, because you might not need to do level 18 content before you reach the cap. But you can't really go wrong with Saltmarsh, Fae, and then later on you've got the Dino one, haven't you, around sort of level 8 or 9. You can do it. Ravenloft, then Shan. If you don't have the expansions, what would I recommend for nice things then? Well, of course, there's all these, there's the Borderlands, which I've done. There's all these level 2 ones around the harbour, which are nice to do. What else do I do around it? Although there's no Reaper mode, what's the Fee Island thing there? Tangle Root isn't a bad one if you fancy a bit of a change. That's good XP. Then when you get to sort of level 5, 6, the 3 Barrel Cove is excellent XP around that level. Okay. So yeah, just a monstrous amount of power early on. I mean, it would be good even without all this extra fluff that we've got for the past lives, but with all this stuff, I mean, it really brings it home to you, because I think these multi-life builds feel at their most overpowered when you're down here in these early levels. You just absolutely crush things, especially if you have the two-hander thing going, the AoE. Really, really nasty damage on the opponents. What I've found so far is you crush things from level 1 to 10. Probably a bit further after that, depending on what gear and weapon you've got available. But sort of mid-teens in heroic, you begin to start taking taking more than one shot to kill opponents, and by the time you reach the end of heroic, at least for me, you're having to swing a few times to clear things up, often short of using special attacks. So that's been my experience so far, at least. So the really crushing stuff comes very early on. This thing just goes out of the gate like an absolute freight train, as I think is the case for most two-handed builds. So yes, we're looking forward to Whirlwind in the next level. So a quick look at what we've done otherwise with the enhancements. I mean, this orc tree is just absolutely full of good stuff for us. Extra action boost, strike through if we want it, helpless damage, power attack boost, all this extra um, heat and damage from the two-handed line. If we wanted it, now if I didn't have the haste boost in the Dragonlord tree, I would be using the Orcish Rage there, which I was using at the start, and I've respec the tree since. So let's have a quick look what we've taken so far out of Dragonlord. It's a super tree, very popular both for deep builds like mostly Dragonlord, and for smaller splits. 5 Dragonlord is quite popular. For this one here, the +2 competence bonus to crit multiplier. That's a big deal and highly sought after by the top damage dealing fraternity. These tier 5s in general are very nice. Flight of Kings, I've experimented with that. That's great. The wings, you get a little speed boost as well, just for 6 seconds after you've triggered it. What we got in there? Oh, the Dragon's Roar. Yeah, the Dragon's Roar we get at the 3rd tier, so quite early in the leveling process if we choose to take it. And when we take the tier 5s, if we choose that route, it suddenly starts causing helpless, and we get a bonus to helpless damage when we trigger the roar. So suddenly things that get caught by that, and it's on a high DC, so a lot of stuff gets caught by it, they just get absolutely flattened once you've taken that at 12. Quicker cooldowns, more DCs on the tactical stuff, that's nice. And then here, more max HP. So there's nothing not to like in that top tier. So at the moment we've got an imbue, which I should remember to have I toggled it on? I don't think I have. That's the first mistake. So we've got an imbue that we need to toggle on, as with any imbue. Double strike I've already mentioned. All up this line is related to tactics, just extra on the tactics. Now, unfortunately, the trans here, as I mentioned to one of you in the comments recently, is currently broken. You can take the first tier of either of them, but if you try to take the number 2 or 3, the game prohibits you from doing that. It's a bug that got introduced with the new monk archetype, I think. Is it the Dragon Disciple, which also has the same problem, I think. So hopefully by the time you see this, that will have been resolved. It is going to make things a little bit more difficult for us with this than they might otherwise have been. But honestly, the thing is powerful enough anyway that we can, I'm sure we can live with it. So we'll only have a 30-second trance. A bit of a shame, but we'll deal with it. This here, haste boost inside the actual tree itself, so no need to go into something like Vistani to acquire it. That's awesome, and super low down the tree as well. So that's going to be pretty well devastating. Look forward to seeing that thing in action. And because we have our extra charges from the orc tree, we have 8 more or less right out of the gate. So that's very good too. The raw, as I mentioned, comes in the next one. So although we're not likely to get much help from the trance to help our raw, we can still use gear to boost. And if you notice there, it's boosted by highest of strength and charisma. So as we are going strength, we're going to have a decent boost to it anyway. And it's also boosted by stunning bonuses and breath weapon bonuses. So if you happen to have both of those on your gear, you could push it very high. I mean, even without having the trance to help me, towards the back end of the heroic in the last life, I had a quick look, and I think I can't remember if I'd taken one or two of the tactics related feats, but I was definitely up into the 60s with it, with the DC for that, which is more than enough for most later heroic content, I would guess, and probably enough for a significant amount of early epic too. So that's where we're at with the enhancements. Gear is threadbare to say the least, I'm afraid. Is there even anything worth mentioning there? It's just a hodgepodge of what I've picked up in the Borderlands, so I'm not even going to dwell on any of it, to be honest. It's sort of placeholder for the nicer stuff to come at 3 and 4. I've got one or two salt marsh pieces, one or two pieces from the new Night Brigade chain, notably the trinket. What's it called? Oh, I can show you. I've prepared them here in a rare feat of organization. Look at this, Brian. I've got stuff ready for level 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got the Breaker's Bauble coming, which awesome for our build. I've just mentioned double strike. We've got accuracy on there as well. Even a little gem look of melee power in there, which is tasty. We've got a super cranium sphere neck piece, so that's our constitution and fort taken care of. More melee power in there, and the super night shield clickable. I've showed you that piece before, I think, but we've not actually equipped it. This time we'll be equipping it. And I think the other level 4 item I've got from that chain is the Agatha's belt. Strength, extra strength, Ram's Might, which is more strength and more damage, plus +1 bonus to weapon damage in the Moon Augment slot. That's just an obscene item for our build at such an early level. So we've got some goodies to come, but right now we're a bit piecemeal with the gear, I'm afraid. Right, we did... Hang on, is there anything else I've missed here? I don't think so. Little bits and pieces that I like to have on the bar. The Stormreach D12 from the anniversary event to go back quickly to the marketplace, especially as we won't have any UMD to start with here. My Eternal Flask of Free Movement, which I quite like. I think it's my preferred one of the Eternal Flasks because there aren't so many sources of free movement. I mean, if you want Stone Skin, you can use a wand of Stone Skin if you have UMD. If you want Death Ward, there's numerous clickables for that. But this is the short of various boots which come available from 9 or 10. I think this is the only source of freedom of movement for those who don't natively have it, so it's quite nice to have. Potions of heroism. I've stuck some potions of rage on, seeing as we're benefiting from strength this time around. So we've got some of those from the vendor in Kundarak. They last for a minute and a half, so I don't have them on all the time. I just tend to trigger them round about the same time I'm triggering the haste boost, so we get like a double boost for that. Speaking of haste, I've got some potions of haste to cancel out the annoying slow effects. It doesn't always work. Sometimes if it's something like a spell ward, I've noticed it doesn't work then. But if it's a spell cast on you, like some kind of slow, it can be very nice to get rid of annoying stuff like that. I think that is about it. Got my glasses there with the Master's Gift and the True Seeing, so we don't have a mischance for blurry or displaced opponents. And also we will uncover any secret doors that happen to be in these low-level adventures. So yes, I interrupted myself. I was saying that we'd done the harbour already. That's what I would be doing now normally at this level. I like to try and give myself the best advantage I can by running stuff one or two levels beneath where I am. So like level 3, I'd be doing, well, let's say if I was level 5, I'd typically try and look for level 3 quests that I hadn't done, like the Gatekeeper Chain or the catacombs in the marketplace, stuff like that. But as we showed the harbour last time, let's have a go at the waterworks this time around. So we don't have any special abilities aside from Trip, which is given to everybody. You can see there it's not on a terrible DC, but I expect it to go nicely higher than that soon enough. We don't have any Reaper points added yet, which can only be added at 4, obviously.
The air around you. You hear human voices up ahead.
Let's show you the strike through here. There we go. Each time we were smashing 2. Well, weapon, by the way, is just the Borderlands one, the Borderlands ethereal one. So we've got Ghost Touch on there for the Reapers, a little Ruby of Acid, which if you don't have them in your stocks, you can go to the Hall of Heroes and buy from the what's it called, the Monster Hunter vendor for a few mysterious remnants. So let's just try and show you the multiple trip. Oh, it actually killed them, so we didn't see them falling on the floor, but same deal, it hit 2 of them. I'm really not a fan of the last one in this chain, that one where you've got to go around examining all the prison cells and trying to find the right one, so I might leave that. But we're going to do all the others. I've been known to wander around several times and not see the right cell. So we've tons of haste boost here, so let's make big use of it. Tell you one thing I was going to mention about these picking up things. Have any of you tried the excellent dungeon helper? There's a link on the DDO site if you haven't. You don't have, well, the proof that I'm using it is proof that it's dead easy to use. All you have to do is install it and just hit run as administrator. And you can do all sorts of useful stuff with it. The reason I've mentioned it now, it picks up remnants and the little bags that the enemies drop just along the way as you're going. So super nice, at least in my estimation. I think it's a chap called Rabid Fox who has come up with that super piece of software, or ooze. One of the most helpful and informative folk on the forum, if you haven't run into him. I've kind of lost the thread of where I'm going here.
You hear an arrogant and loud yipping voice behind the door.
I don't actually have an ooze beating weapon, so I'm just going to have to take the hit on my weapon here and hope it doesn't get too badly damaged. I tend to try to just avoid ooze where possible. Oh, must have gone the wrong way. I've not done this chain actually for a while. I tried to I try to vary things, sort of level to life rather. There's no excuse. The number of times I must have run this. I think you can see we're fairly well carving things into here, aren't we?
You hear a loud chorus of snoring creatures behind the door.
And there's no need at all at this stage, is there, for any kind of CC? It's just CC by killing. Let's have a look, see if we can find this chest. I've got a collection of potions of cure serious, but honestly I don't expect us to take too much damage. Now then, it's back here towards the locked things that we hit upon last time, isn't it? Yeah, you know it's a good time when the trips are killing. I think I've gone to the wrong one again, haven't I? Well done. I think you've seen enough to see that that falchion is absolutely vicious. Falchion quite nice to use for leveling a two-hander for the nice wide crit profile it has. So like an axe might be, I think an axe is 20 times 3 by default, whereas a falchion is 18 to 20 times 2. So you have that nice wide crit to go at. I think later on when you get into epic, people prioritize more the crit multiplier than the threat range, or at least tend to, because there are these like the what's it called, adrenaline, sort of, so you're into sort of the realms of auto crit there, so you're basically just looking for the highest multiplier that you can get to pair with that. Let's go people. So just handy, because many times I don't even notice there's something on the floor to pick up, and sometimes the things on the floor are things that I at least find quite valuable, like the bronze tokens, let's say, from the sands. Sometimes they might be obscured by a corpse or corpses, and the dungeon helper just picks it up for you anyway, which is lovely. Other times it's just so fiddly, messing about with the mouse, just trying to pinpoint where the thing is on the floor, or maybe it's gone through the floor, all sorts of silly stuff. And if the game just picks it up for you anyway, it's happy days. Right, now there can be some electric throwing things down here, can't there? So let's try. I don't have much. Well, you've seen my gear. It's awful. So there's not much in the way of electrical resist. So let's just try and pull the thing and get out of here. Let's see if we can use the pillar as a bit of a shield. That's one thing I would advocate to those of you who are relatively new. the use of cover and the positioning of your character so that you're not completely surrounded by opponents can be quite impactful on your success or otherwise. Speaking of impactful, he chomped us, didn't he? Okay, so yeah, unless as a Reaper, it's pretty well plain sailing, isn't it? With the two-hander. Particularly when you've got an abusive amount of haste boost to use from such an early level. I guess the standard fighter, the Kensai, would have the same, wouldn't they? What do they have, in fact? They have, I think it might even be in the first tier of their tree, is that right? Yeah. I think the Kensai have the haste boost. They have a choice, don't they? Is it haste boost or damage boost? I think they have a choice. I've actually got a couple of fighter lives to do as well, but I thought it might be interesting to show this one as it's already been mentioned, and maybe a few of you are in the same boat as me and hadn't tried it up until recently, or maybe not tried it at all. I'm looking for a bit of info. I think we could
This
say
appears to be
the
Clan Gnashtooth's main prison.
well, one of the big standout things of this class is this raw that everybody's talking about as overpowered. It I suppose it depends. It's to me, to have it something like that on a melee class. I mean, before you always would need, you know, stuff like stunning blow and all this kind of stuff. It almost seems to devalue that kind of stuff because it's so good. It puts everything in the shade, even the castery stuff. You know, stuff like greater color spray. There's no way that is on a par with the Dragon's Roar. If you take the tier 5, you're getting helpless damage in abundance, and you're getting it against everything. Color spray has its limitations. It against undead, for instance, you can't. There's no stunning. So it really is a one CC to rule them all from that regard. From what I can gather, it's quite short duration. So in the upper Reaper difficulties, where CC is why aren't you following me? Is reduced in duration anyway. Then there could be. I've heard from the forum users there that what they tend to do then is just use that as the the starter, and then the other CC people in the team put the longer duration stuff up. I'm in a bit of a quandary actually, because for me personally, I've just walked over all those spikes, well done. For me personally, as a soloer, more or less,
After thanking you once more,
I
dashes off towards the surface and safety.
probably find more value in the other tree that the dragon has available, the Ravager. The main reason being that one, the blood strength. I'd never tried it before until doing these Dragonlord lives, and the second life I went ahead and had a go in there. And honestly, once you get to level 12, you normally think sort of melee class trouble healing at least until epic. Well, not a bit of it when you're using that blood strength. That is insanely good. I was getting towards the back end of heroic. I was getting something like 60 or 70 health healed on every kill, and the it doesn't seem to care for the Reaper mode. You know, like some things are nerfed into the ground by the Reaper mode. Well, not this. So I think that's got some serious potential, at least for my needs as a melee going forward. And I can see me doing something. The Barbarian has the same, obviously, Ravager, that's where it comes from. So I can see me doing something at the cap as a melee with that tree as the main one. Definitely see some mileage in that for us.
The strong smell of sewage permeates the air around you. You hear human voices up ahead.
So plans for the near future for this live. We're going to go up to tier 3 in the Dragonlord. This trans is just a shame, but it is broken, so I'll only ever get 30 seconds of it. Now the recharge on it, you have 5 charges to start with, and it recharges by you using the raw ability. From what I can tell, it does trigger reasonably often, that recharge. So if that wasn't broken and your transfers were lasting 2 minutes and not 30 seconds, as is the case at the moment, I have a feeling that you wouldn't be struggling, you wouldn't be running out of these by the end of a quest or raid or whatever. That's just from the impression I've got from experimenting with it up to now. So yeah, we're gonna take the raw and the trans, the third core in there, call that a do in there, and perhaps start and go into Ravager, pick up this cruel cut thing, which is very nice from what I can tell. The power attack thing as well. I think around level 6 I'm going to take power attack, so at that point I'll take the power attack enhancements in both these trees to give us a really beefy bonus. I think generally speaking, if you're not raging, which we are not with this build, this I think it tells you here, doesn't it? Oh no, I can't. It does say it anyway. When I'm not in a quest, I could see it. You can't use the strength trans here while raging. So if you're not raging, generally speaking, the precision, excuse me, feat would be preferable over the power attack. But particularly because we're not going any further than 20 and we want a nice little boost up in the low levels, I thought I'd take power attack early, make good use of the fact that we've got extra bonuses to it in 2 of our trees, and see how we go like that. If I'd paid a bit more attention to detail, I would certainly have got at least something to swap to when facing ooze. As it is, I use a mixture of avoidance and just batter the ooze and then go and repair my weapon for the quest afterwards. I could also have just been a bit less silly about it and taken a spare weapon from the Borderlands. Even a spare one of the one I've got here would have been a good thing to fall back on. I think we can probably see this will be worn because of, oh, not that badly worn actually. I only really hit one ooze, didn't I? That's not a bad idea. I should, when the recording's finished, I should go to the Borderlands and just get us a spare just in case something, or I can use this one as a spare, can't I, once we upgrade. I've got, what have I got? Oh, flipping heck. Typical. It would have to be a ooze, wouldn't it? More ooze. This could be a disaster. Oh no. Serve me right. Can I just get out of here? Yeah, I'm gonna YOLO down here and hope they don't follow.
It disappears into the depths of the sewer.
Okay. Let's get moving. Oh, I can't get moving, can I? I've got to trigger the things on the sides. What was I say? Oh, about weapons, yeah. You can't really go wrong with
Straight down this shaft would be
with just about any two-hander, and
it might help break your fall.
Oh crikey, the appropriate feats, you know, the two-handed fighting line. But people would probably recommend Carnifex from the Delira's chain from level 4 that has Keen on it, so has a nice wide crit profile as well as decent damage because it's a ×3 multiplier. I've been using that from 4 until 10 to good effect, and then from 10 you've got several nice options. You've got, oh, actually from 9 you've got the Black Razor from White Plume, which is very nice. At 10 there is the what's it called for the bronze tokens from the Sands, Whirlwind, I think it's called. That's got a monster wide crit profile, so really nice. Or maybe you are still wondering what to do with your draconic reward box. Is it Raiders reward box that was offered from the recent Dragon Year event? One of the options in there is a Sword of Shadow, available from 10. Or if you already had a Sword of Shadow, you could try the Epic Sword of Shadow. Me, I've been, with this latest melee focus, I've been using Sword of Shadow from 10, and from 20, you might recall if you saw, am I going the right way? I think I am. If you saw the Eldritch Knight Life that we did, we used an epic zoom from 20 to good effect, so I thought we could dust that off and use that. Indeed, some people would suggest that might even be better. That's a falchion, might even be better than the epic Sword of Shadow. It's there isn't much to choose anyway, so if you have one of those or you have some tokens laying around, that would be an excellent choice for a two-handed life going into epics. So that's my plan. Other possible solutions, if you have a nice double-slotted falchion lying around, you could Canis craft a falchion with something like force and maybe force and bludgeoning damage on it, something like that. The sages in the forum suggest that that could even be better than some of these things that rely on crit, because a lot of the stuff, you know, elementals, golems, all that kind of carry on, heavily crit resistant. Undead you can add to that pile. So having, my god, he's resisted everything, that one. Having, he was heavily crit resistant, wasn't he? As if to illustrate the point. Having damage that doesn't rely as much on crit, like the, steady going force damage or acid, electric, whatever it happens to be. Could be a winner against all that type of stuff.
You notice recognizable letters among the scratches on the wall. They read, Chief
Chief
Jittick's
Jiddick's room, yes. Let's have some. As long as nobody invites those damn ooze to the party, I'm down. So yeah, totally should have had a swap weapon, if not an ooze beating weapon. What's the type of weapon that doesn't get stuffed by ooze? I know there's Muckbane and that kind of thing, but isn't there a... Is it called is it Blue Shine? Something like that.
On the other side of the door.
Oh, there's now then, Black. That's another appeal of Black Razor, of course, isn't it? I really should. I'm sure I've got a Black Razor lying about somewhere. I think Black Razor is crystal, and I'm sure that doesn't get done by ooze. So if I think on from 9, I will equip that and hang on to it as a swap when we go up to the Sword of Shadow. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's taken me 3 lives to suss that one out. Sometimes I do a bit better thinking out loud for some of these recordings. Although it hasn't escaped my attention that I've just blundered around hopelessly in those quests. Attempting to talk and do the questing at the same time is not usually successful for me, as I'm sure you'll be well aware if you've watched the channel a bit. But I'm reasonably happy with all that. We are, as you can see, utterly dominant, totally cheating with all these past life business that we've got going on. But even without that, I mean, just think of something like what's he called, that crazy hireling you can get from level 1. Is it Brand? Begins with a B anyway, doesn't it? I can't quite remember. He's a warforged with a massive cleaver, isn't he? And he doesn't half put the damage out in those early Korthos quests, and this is kind of how this feels. It's definitely got that vibe to it. So I won't waffle on too much more. I'm planning to do as we've been doing recently, and just do a snapshot every 4 or 5 levels, something like that. So I think we could reconvene somewhere around 8, see where the build's at, tell you a bit about what's been going on, and do it that way. So thank you very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.